Well, the Biden administration will begin phasing in new tailpipe emissions rules for passenger cars and trucks. The rule passed on Wednesday is another push by the administration to accelerate the transition to EVs and hybrids, even as drivers express some concerns about the lack of EV infrastructure. Our next guest is looking to build out that infrastructure, and we've got Terry O'Day. He's InCharge Energy CEO. Terry, it's good to talk to you today. How big of a bump do you expect to get for your business as this transition to EVs accelerates?
Well, our business is already growing year over year. We're over 250% growth for the last 4 years. So this new regulation is really an opportunity to align the industry against some targets and provide some investor certainty as we seek to build out the infrastructure. We'll have some certainty to know that the vehicles will be there on the road.
And Terry, in terms of maintaining some of that infrastructure, obviously people are still waiting to get, a supercharger that's close to them because, some of these level 2 chargers still taking a considerable amount of time. How should people be viewing that when it comes to the speed of repair and maintenance that also needs to come with this infrastructure change?
Sure. Well, already for most people, the answer to the question, where is the closest charger, for me, is in your garage, right? So as we build out the on-road charging solutions and we build out more fleet depots and we reach more people in parking lots where they might be working, or if they're in apartments where they might park overnight, that infrastructure continues to grow. And it's really remarkable how far it's come along already. But for our company at InCharge Energy, we design, engineer, install, and maintain the charging station. So we have a team of service technicians in every state and province in North America that goes out and services these chargers so that you can rely on them being operational when you show up to charge your vehicle.
On the issue of multifamily units, I keep bringing this up as somebody who drives an EV and has an apartment. It is really hard to find a place that has that kind of infrastructure in place for those who live within the apartment. And I live in California. Why has that deployment been so slow? And what needs to happen to accelerate that?
Well, that is a tough one because we have both the tenant and the landlord that you have to work with to get a solution for a multifamily residency, right? So what you probably will mostly rely on until that infrastructure evolves, you'll rely on the on-road charging stations like the superchargers you mentioned, or like the existing gasoline fueling model that we have relied on for all of these years. And these chargers are getting faster and faster, and the reliability is getting better, and they're becoming more ubiquitous throughout our cities and in connecting our cities. So you can find these chargers and you can use the vehicles just as you have with your gasoline-powered vehicle, but get even better performance and lower maintenance costs.
And Terry, I have to ask, for some of these partners that you work with, what are the key selling points when someone is deciding, should I move my fleet to EVs, and I want this, a dependable source of being able to charge, but then some of the costs for some of these installations as well. How do they really balance those costs?
For sure. Well, we are focused on fleets in particular. So some of our customers include UPS, FedEx, PepsiCo, Anheuser-Busch, and these companies are coming to electrification and choosing electric vehicles because it saves them money in operating their fleets. And when they save money operating their fleets, they get to pass those savings along to consumers. What these fleets are doing is they're making these investments now, anticipating these savings over time. And the real leaders are continuing to make these investments in their infrastructure so that they can remain competitive as this new technology evolves.
Terry, what does that investment look like? To what extent have you seen an increase in that capital spend, specifically around charging stations, if you're talking about some of the biggest companies that are deploying their fleet?
Yeah. Well, in the fleet market, you're seeing multi-million-dollar commitments from some of these major brands. And the leaders have made these commitments because they can see that already the cost of operating an electric vehicle is lower than the cost of a diesel or gasoline. And just as importantly, the cost of the fuel is more consistent than gasoline or diesel, which fluctuates a lot. So the consistency provides your fleet managers the opportunity to forecast their costs and to save their customers money. So each of these companies has made multi-million-dollar investments, and we also serve school districts, for example, that are very focused on saving money and getting money back into the classroom and keeping our kids healthy. So we have some of the largest school bus deployments with electric fuels in the country. And we provide those charging stations for them to keep those vehicles on the road and safe.
So Terry, what does the product roadmap look like from here as, you know, the Biden administration investing more in this space, but then you look at what some of the global competition is doing, not just with installing some of these chargers, but also things like battery swapping technology?
Battery swapping is a really interesting technology and opportunity, as we know that, when we talk about real estate, there's three things to think about: location, 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 right? With electric vehicles, there's also three things, right? It's batteries, batteries, batteries. And so battery swapping is a way to kind of reduce the cost of operating your vehicle by allowing you to offload the battery and charge it offsite and then switch into a new battery. But really the technology for batteries is that it's getting less expensive because we're manufacturing them on a larger scale. And as these battery costs have come down, that's where the long-term lifetime costs of operating your electric vehicle are now beating diesel. And so that's why fleet managers are beginning to find electric technologies as a solution to reduce their costs, provide them more certainty, and give them lower maintenance requirements.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to join us this morning. Terry O'Day, InCharge Energy CEO, thank you so much and have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.